Hello, you magnificent bastards, and salam alaikum to all Muslims listening in, especially to you, Adam. This whole video is basically dedicated to you. Islam. The religion of peace. Sounds pretty good, right? Kinda catchy even. One could totally picture it as a product slogan. But as with most slogans, you should put an asterisk right next to it and use a footnote to explain that results might vary and that the religion of peace, trademark, might cause violence, criminality, terrorism, religious extremism, and being perpetually offended by any sign of disagreement. Shout out to all the Muslim YouTubers out there delivering fresh butthurt all day, every day. In 2005, Tina Megard, a Danish researcher, concluded that the Quran is the most violence-promoting mainstream holy book. And if you want to know more about that, I put a link in the description because right now I don't want to get into all of this theological stuff all too much, because in the end you're just going to say that I interpreted it wrong. So I'm here instead to give you stuff where that excuse of wrong interpretation simply won't work anymore. I'm here to give you realities, social realities to be precise. So let's take a look at a few of those social realities of Muslim communities worldwide. In February 2010, the German Criminology Institute of Lower Saxony published a report about youth criminality in Germany and included some really interesting statistics about the Muslim population. It turns out that Muslims were 1.6 times as likely to commit a violent act than their Catholic peers. 12.6% versus 21.3% to be precise. The second row, right here, is also really interesting. It concerns perpetrators who committed more than 5 violent acts. Turns out that 3.6% of all Catholic youths and 9% of all Muslim youths committed more than 5 violent acts. This means that Muslims were 2.5 times as likely as Catholics to commit more than 5 violent acts. A Pew Research study about 39 countries from the year 2015 shows that across the world and all social statuses, Muslims are very much in favor of having Sharia law as their national law. You have very similar findings in a long-term study by the WZB Berlin Social Science Center, first published 2013, showing that 66% of all European Muslims put Sharia law above national law. And to really drive this point home, the Islam on Campus study by the Center of Social Cohesion, published 2008, shows that support for Sharia law ranged from 36% to 65%. And just to drift off for a moment here, the same study also shows that 33% of all Muslim students were in favor of a worldwide Sharia-guided caliphate, and 28% don't think separation of Islam and state is all that possible. Now, both Kraus and I have been dealing with the issue of Muslim criminality quite extensively, but just for completion's sake, here I have another example. The 2009 paper, State Responses to Muslim Violence, a comparison of 6 West European countries by Eric Bleich, shows that North African Muslims are 21% of the prison population in France, while being only 6% of the population overall. If you want more on this, check out my video on Muslim crime statistics. We will also find that, according to a survey by the Belgian newspaper Gazette van Antwerpen, 16% of all questioned Muslim youths were in favor of terrorism, something we'll find across the board. Again. A 2006 Pew Research study shows that 24% of British Muslims, 35% of French Muslims, 13% of German Muslims, and 27% of Spanish Muslims saw at least some justification for lethal violence against civilian targets in defense of Islam. This number climbs up to 43% in the case of Egypt, and a whopping 69% in Nigeria. These findings are mirrored in the already mentioned Islam on Campus study. Here we find that 32% of all Muslim students are willing to kill for their religion, while only 2% of the non-Muslim students say the same. Now, we talked a bit about Sharia before, and I'd like to get back to it. What about apostasy, leaving Islam? 6% of all Muslim students support punishment according to Sharia law, and while that doesn't sound all that horrific, only 6%, if we add the fact that 50% of all those Muslims want to kill people who leave Islam, which basically means following the proper application of Sharia law in that case, it suddenly has a whole new quality. In other words, 3% of all Muslim students were in favor of killing people who turn away from Islam. 3 fucking %. And don't even get me started on women, gays, atheists, and just about anyone who's not a male Muslim. 11% of all Muslim students have no respect for atheists at all. 25% of all Muslims have no respect for homosexuals. And 40% of all Muslim students think it's unacceptable for men and women to associate freely. These findings are, again, confirmed in the aforementioned Berlin Social Science Center study, showing that 58% of all Muslims don't want gay friends, 44% say that Jews can't be trusted, and 53% say the West is out to destroy them, making them about 20 fucking times as hostile towards outside groups than Christians. Adam Saleh. I hope it's okay if I just call you Adam at this point, because I'm not entirely certain how to pronounce your surname, and if I screwed it up, then I'm really sorry. So, Adam. You and every Muslim out there are members of a fanatical death cult, based on conquest, violence, and oppression. It's true that even among cultists you'll find educated, decent, moderate people, but the data across the board paints a pretty one-sided picture of your religion. From your holy scripture, to the beliefs you practice, up to the social behavior of Muslims. Islam is a danger to civilization as we know it right now. So, sorry not sorry for disrespecting 1.6 billion people. The truth is and always will stay the truth, no matter how much it hurts your feelings. And if hurting your feelings means that only one of your viewers will eventually stop adhering to this fucking death cult, then I'm going to be here all day, every day, shit-talking you. That's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. And guys, be certain to stay for the comments. It's gonna be absolutely glorious. And as always, Babylon prevails.